Well, good Sunday evening. I'm meteorologist David Keller. Wanted to give you an update here on the weather forecast as we head into the evening hours. We didn't have a newscast earlier this evening because of golf that was on NBC. So just wanted to give you a little bit more of an in-depth update of what to expect here as we head through the rest of the evening and the early overnight. I am watching the potential for some thunderstorms headed our way. Right now, we're all quiet. Things warm and humid, a little bit breezy out there, but no thunderstorms anywhere near the Omaha metro. And I think that we're not really going to see any thunderstorm issues for probably the next 3 or 4 hours at least. It's probably going to be closer to midnight before we start to see anything getting close to the Omaha metro. So I'm going to go ahead and switch us over to the current satellite and radar picture right here as I'm watching things trying to move in from the west at this moment. I'm not seeing any thunderstorm activity anywhere near eastern Nebraska at this point. You can see the clouds beginning to increase from the west, but the storms are still well out west of Grand Island, Hastings, just moving into the Kearney area. These storms have been severe. There have been a number of very high wind reports with these thunderstorms out near North Platte, across southwestern Nebraska, talking wind speeds of 70 to 80 miles per hour in many cases, and had one very intense wind gust in North Platte that was measured up to 97 miles per hour. So these are hurricane force wind gusts in some cases. However, as this line of storms has been moving to the east, we've been seeing that intensity come down fairly quickly, so that is some good news. Still a number of severe thunderstorm warnings in place out there across central Nebraska. You can see those yellow boxes on the screen. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. So I'm going to go ahead and pause that radar loop. So this is the last hour. You can see that storms continuing to press eastward across central Nebraska, just beginning to approach Kearney from the west, just moved through Lexington, going across southern Nebraska as well. So let me go ahead and pause this radar loop so you can see where the storms are right now. Everywhere you see those yellow boxes, those are severe thunderstorm warnings. So out to the south of Kearney, severe thunderstorm warning goes until 9:30 this evening for portions of Franklin, Harlan, Kearney, Phelps counties. Wind speeds up to 60 miles per hour expected. Just to the west of that, a severe thunderstorm warning continues southwest of Kearney. Potential for winds up to 70 miles per hour, but you notice the new warning there that goes a little farther east into central Nebraska. That warning is only for 60 mile per hour winds. So the wind speeds have dropped off considerably over the last hour or two as this line of storms has been marching to the east. There is one tornado warning off to the north of Kearney. We can zoom into that in central Nebraska. This is going to be just to the southeast of Broken Bow, just north of Algernon. Let me see the information on this one. So that tornado warning goes until 9:15 there for east central Custer County, just to the west of Loop City. Does not look like it's a particularly intense thunderstorm right there. We're kind of looking at the potential for a couple of little spin-ups like we've been seeing over the past several weeks. But as I put this back into motion here and put the loop back on, you can see that there were some very intense cores, the very dark red, the purples and the pinks. Those have diminished somewhat over the last 30 minutes as this line of storms has been pushing to the east. And I expect that trend to continue as this continues to move its way our direction. So while the line of storms is really intense right now, I'm not expecting that we will see anything like what North Platte had earlier this evening as those storms move our way. In fact, there's the potential that these storms could actually fizzle out entirely before they reach the Omaha metro. I'll show you that here in just a second. I do want to show you some of these wind gust reports that have been coming in over the last couple of hours because they are really intense. I'm going to start off near North Platte. Let me see if I can get that 97. So there's 71 miles per hour. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in to the immediate North Platte area so we can see some of these wind gusts that were reported as this line of storms moved through North Platte. So first we had a wind gust of about 80 miles per hour there on the southwest side of North Platte, and then we had a report of 97 mile per hour winds. Yeah, nearly 100 mile per hour winds there on the the south side of North Platte, just south of I-80. So some really intense winds, likely doing a fair bit of wind damage out there in the city of North Platte. Another wind gust of 71 miles per hour. It does look like we have some wind damage reported there. Trees down. Okay, so pretty typical of what you would expect with 80 to 90 mile an hour winds. Reports of trees down all over North Platte at this point. power lines down as well, and it looks like most of the town is without power according to that report right there. So definitely a very significant thunderstorm as this all rolled through North Platte. Another wind gust of there 81 miles per hour at the airport on the east side of North Platte. Now, as this line has continued to move eastward, I want to show you the trend here on those wind speeds. So we had wind gusts of 80, 90 miles an hour in North Platte. A little bit further to the east, 60 mile per hour winds in Brady. And then as the storm moved into Gothenburg, about 63 mile per hour winds. And then as it continued to trek to the east, we had winds around 58 miles an hour in Sumner. So you can see those wind speeds have come down considerably as this line of storms has been moving eastward. Let's see what this report is southeast of Broken Bow, about 60 miles an hour. So it still could do some minor tree damage, but nothing like those 80 to 90 mile an hour winds that we had in North Platte. Broken Bow reporting 58 mile an hour winds again. So still some severe wind gusts, but nothing nearly as significant as what was happening there in North Platte. And I expect that downward trend to continue as this all marches off to the east. Let me see here. Let me get the speed on these thunderstorms. So they are moving to the east, it looks like, at about 30 miles an hour. We'll be generous and give it a forward speed of about 40 miles per hour. So I'm going to do a storm track right along the leading edge. That's where the strongest winds would be. And we're just going to take this due east, basically, toward Omaha and get some rough arrival times on this line of storms. So Grand Island by 9:30 to 10 o'clock, Columbus by 10:30 to 11, Lincoln by 11:30 to midnight, and it looks like the Omaha Metro between midnight and 1 a.m. So we still have 3 to 4 hours before these storms move into eastern Nebraska. And at that point, I do not expect them to be anywhere near as strong as they are right now. I did see a couple. Okay, Lynette says North Platte currently has no power. So that's not surprising given those 80 to 90 mile per hour winds reported in the North Platte area. Hopefully they can get the situation figured out there fairly quickly. The storms have moved out, so hopefully power crews are able to get that fixed pretty quickly. I did see a question about rain tomorrow. I think most of your Monday is going to be dry. We'll get to that forecast here in just a second. Do want to go ahead and show you what's going on well, maybe not. What's going on right now here in the metro. And yeah, we just have partly cloudy skies. It's a warm, a humid evening, 78 degrees right now. Dew points are in the upper 60s, almost 70, so that's pretty thick humidity. One of the first days this year that we've really had that thick humidity out there. It's actually giving us a bit of a heat index. The heat index currently 80 degrees, even though the thermometer says 78, so that's some pretty thick air out there. Most of the area is now down into the upper 70s, between about 75 in Columbus to 78 here in Omaha, Lincoln, and in Tacoma. 77 Plattsmouth, Nebraska City, Shenandoah, Red Oak, Atlantic, Clarinda, Falls City, Beatrice, Fremont. A lot of 77s out there tonight. Now, as far as the storms go here for the rest of the evening, right now they are well off to our west, but they are marching to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So by 10 o'clock, they're going to be just to the west of our viewing area. And by that, I mean from Norfolk and Columbus on westward. So that's just outside of our viewing area. So 10 o'clock, not quite to you in Columbus just yet. By 11 o'clock, likely moving into the Norfolk and Columbus area. Again, give this about a 30-minute wiggle time, so maybe 30 minutes earlier or 30 minutes later than what you see on this map. This is just a computer model, so it's not going to be perfect. But you notice that the storms, as they're moving into our area, don't look nearly as intense as they are right now off to our west, and that trend continues as they move to the east. So by about midnight, they're likely just beginning to move into West Point, just west of Fremont, Wahoo, and Lincoln, and then continuing to move east through the midnight hour. And by midnight to 1 a.m., you can see that line has made it into the Omaha Metro, but it's really starting to break up. You're seeing not seeing that solid line of storms anymore. And watch what happens as it moves through the metro. We really see it begin to fizzle out. So that's going to take those wind gust probabilities and take them down very quickly. So that's why I really don't think we're going to see widespread severe winds as these move into the area. Yeah, there could be a couple of wind gusts of maybe 40, 60 miles per hour, especially to the west of Omaha. But you notice as you cross the Missouri River, the line just about goes poof, just kind of gone. Yeah, it's moving into a more unfavorable area, a more unfavorable atmosphere as those storms march east across Nebraska. So that means they're going to see a weakening trend. We're going to see those wind speeds come down. The overall rainfall intensity is going to come down as well. So it could get a little noisy out there by midnight, 1 in the morning, but I'm not expecting severe weather, certainly not expecting tornado outbreak with this. And you can see by 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, it's all out of here, and we should have a mostly dry day on Monday. Now, we still have that severe weather risk in place. This is issued by the Storm Prediction Center. It doesn't get updated quite as often as our forecast does. So those storms out to the west will be moving toward Norfolk and Columbus, and it could bring that potential for some stronger wind gusts here and there. But you notice we go from that 3 out of 5 to 2 out of 5 as the storms move over Omaha, and then we quickly drop to a 1 out of 5 as they continue to push east. And I really think that severe weather risk for the Omaha metro has decreased fairly quickly. So again, Norfolk and Columbus probably around 11 o'clock tonight, give or take about a half hour. Around West Point, Fremont, Wahoo, Lincoln around midnight, and then moving into the metro by midnight to 1 a.m. And again, give or take about a half hour on the timing on that, as the storms could speed up, slow down. They're not always going to move at the same exact speed, but roughly moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour right now. So that would put it in the metro between about 12:30 and 1 o'clock, given that current speed. If they change the speed, of course, that's going to change the arrival time. Now, as we head into your Monday, yeah, we're storm free in the morning. It'll be a little bit cooler, temperatures in the low 60s, but still a pretty humid day. And look what happens in the afternoon. Partly cloudy skies, fair bit of sunshine, and that shoots our temperatures up into the mid 80s. I'm expecting a high temperature of about 86 degrees here for your Monday. It's going to be humid as well, so that heat index could get close to 90 degrees. So we could be one of the first days this year, but we've been talking about the potential for a heat index, and it stays warm and humid into the evening. There is about a 30% chance for an isolated thunderstorm tomorrow evening. You see that particular computer model doesn't really have much in the way of any rain out there tomorrow, so I really think most of your Monday is going to be dry, if not all of it, as those storms are going to be very, very isolated across the area. It's just going to be a very warm and humid day. Look at these high temperatures, mid 80s all across the area. And then as we look forward into Tuesday, there is one more fairly good chance for thunderstorms before we do get a prolonged period of drier weather. There's going to be a cold front moving through Nebraska on Tuesday. That front is going to be lining up to our north and west during the morning hours, and then it's going to progress to the southeast fairly quickly. So by about noon, it's likely sitting from Sioux Falls to just west of Sioux City in Norfolk, and then it will continue to slide eastward as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. So by 2 o'clock, it's just west of the Omaha metro, and look what is happening there. By 2 o'clock, at least on this particular computer model, we got a nice line of thunderstorms trying to fire up here right over the metro, and then those will race to the east fairly quickly as we head through the afternoon and evening hours. So I'm not sold on that timing of 2 o'clock. I would say between 2 and 6 on Tuesday, we could have some of those thunderstorms out there. At this point in time, it does not look like they're going to be severe. We could have certainly some heavy downpours, not exactly something we need right now. And anywhere that picks up an inch of rain could easily see some minor flooding, as the soil is still quite saturated here all across the area. But it will not last long, and it looks like by late Tuesday evening, those storms are out of here. And then behind that front, a quieter, a less humid, a drier weather pattern coming in for the rest of that 10-day forecast. You can see Wednesday still warm, 85, but Thursday we drop into the upper 70s, lower humidity. That means morning lows in the mid 50s, upper 70s to low 80s. Friday on into the upcoming weekend, right on into next week. So a nice little period that we can finally kind of dry out from that near record rainy May that we had across the area. So a little bit of good news right there. There's our line of storms. It's off to the west right now, not as intense as it has been. Still watching the potential for some wind gusts as it continues to roll eastward. There you can see we still have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in place. New warning just came out for the Kearney area over toward Grand Island. I can get the information on the screen here for you for that. That severe thunderstorm warning goes until 9:45. And again, wind speeds around 60 miles an hour. That can knock down some tree branches, perhaps cause a few scattered power outages, but we're not seeing those 80 to 90 mile an hour winds that we had out near North Platte, as this line has been showing some signs of weakening as it pushes to the east. Something else that I have noticed here over the last hour or so, I'm going to really zoom in here and kind of change the look of the radar really quickly, as I do want to show you. Let me see if I can get this to come up. There we go. Okay. Maybe not. Let me try that again. There we go. You see this little green line that's coming out ahead of the storms? That's what we call a outflow boundary or a gust front. Anytime you see that coming out ahead of the storms, that means it's cutting the storms off from their source of energy. So it's, or at least delaying the storms from getting to their source of energy. So it's keeping the storms from reaching their full potential. And that little outflow boundary, that green line right there, is expected to continue to race out ahead of these storms as they work into eastern Nebraska. And that's going to help to promote a weakening trend as well. So that's why, although these storms are still fairly intense out in central Nebraska, I do not expect them to be as intense when they reach the Omaha metro. Let me see if I've missed any questions here. Is it going to rain in the Council Bluffs area tonight? Caitlin, I think I went over that here just a couple of minutes ago when I was showing the forecast path of these storms. They are going to make it into eastern Nebraska, into the Omaha metro, but they'll be breaking apart as they move into the metro. So there will be rain in the area. I can't say with 100% certainty that it's going to rain in your backyard because of the scattered nature of the thunderstorms as they move in. There will likely be rain around, but it just depends on whether or not these storms are still in that congealed line or if they've started to break apart into smaller little storms as it moves on in. Molly asked, when are the storms hitting Omaha? I can put the storm track on there once again. We're estimating about 40 mile per hour forward speed on this line of storms. So if we track that out into the Omaha metro, moving into Grand Island by about 10 o'clock, so 40, 50 minutes from now. Well, that's behind my face. Sorry about that. Let me move that out of the way. There we go. Moving into the Columbus and Norfolk areas by about 11 o'clock. Moving into Seward and Schuyler and David City by about 11:30. Moving into Fremont, Wahoo, and Lincoln by about midnight, and then moving into the Omaha metro between midnight and 1 a.m. If you're on the west side of the metro, out in Elkhorn or Bennington or Gretna, you're going to be closer to that midnight time frame. If you're on the east side of the metro, say Council Bluffs, you're going to be closer to that 1 a.m. time frame. So that's a rough outlook here. That's, of course, assuming the storms continue to move at about 40 miles per hour. If they speed up or slow down, that's going to change the arrival time. So give about a half-hour window either side of those times that I just gave you for when those storms could be knocking on our doorstep. So hopefully that answers your question there, Molly. And somebody asked about when it'll be in Norfolk. Hopefully that answers the question there as well. Somebody asked, do I think these storms are going to produce tornadoes? No, I don't. You saw that outflow boundary I was pointing out just a few minutes ago. That's undercutting the source of the energy for the thunderstorms, and that generally really reduces the tornado threat as well. So I'm not anticipating these producing much of a tornado threat as they move into our area. Right now, there's still a little potential for some spin. That's why there was a tornado warning out near Broken Bow, but that has not been continued, and I'm not anticipating seeing any widespread tornado threat as these storms move on in. They will continue to weaken as they move toward the Omaha metro. Robin says her kids are in the backyard sleeping in a tent. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I think the storms will be weakening in. Robin, I would say just make sure you're paying attention to the forecast here at 10 o'clock and then have that weather app ready to go here overnight. I don't anticipate a big windstorm, but can't rule out some 40, 50 mile an hour wind gusts just from the outflow the cool, rain-cool air coming out of these storms as they come into the metro here later tonight, but I don't anticipate a big severe weather event as these move on in. So that's the latest update here. Hopefully it helps you kind of plan the rest of your evening into the overnight. And we had a quick look here at the 10-day forecast as well. So hopefully everybody will stay safe out there tonight. It does look like it should be a little noisy out there about midnight to 1 a.m., but I'm not expecting widespread severe weather. So we will continue, of course, to monitor the storms as they roll our way, and I'll give you an update tonight live at 10. That goes till 11 o'clock. So that'll be tracking the storms right up into the Norfolk and Columbus and York area there by the end of the 10 o'clock news, and should have a pretty good idea of whether or not the storms will be severe as they move on into the metro. So until then, we'll see you tonight at 10.